things that are emitted, the contaminants that are emitted by cars and trucks and industrial processes. So our outdoor air, especially when we have like the wildfire season,
Yeah, just a few years ago.
right, has become, since we've become more aware of health, we've really internalized that, especially in cities, you're going to need mechanical ventilation because it allows you to do filtration, right? So I think that shift from sort of open and porous buildings to buildings that are better sealed and therefore, and then better controlled is a huge trend. And then once you get into a central system, right, because you're trying to do filtration, then the question becomes, how do you do it right? And there's sort of been unquestioned assumptions about control. You're never going to get people to agree. You can't give people individual control. That certainly were challenging, and I think others are challenging as well. But there's also an aspect of ventilation, right? So when you ventilate and you just shoot air willy-nilly, it's not a very effective way to ventilate. You end up breathing a lot of air from your feet. Like when you're sitting in your desk, this is going to sound gross, but you breathe air that's sort of convected up from your feet and the floor. And it's been stale air, right? Our mission, and others are doing this as well, is improve ventilation effectiveness. So instead of using more outside air, conditioning more air, how do we take the air we already have and use it sort of judiciously by delivering it more immediately to the individual so they're breathing less of that stale air that we talked about and more of the fresh air. So I think there's a trend towards kind of sealing buildings up. If you look at Passive House, which is another interesting, NYU just finished a couple years ago, like one of the biggest Passive House buildings we've seen in New York. Passive House is taking off. And one of the concepts of Passive House is seal the building up really, really well.